What up, everybody? What up, everybody? What up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of AC Reviews the World. I am your host, AC the Engineer, and we are at episode 48. Let's give it a round of applause. Yep, we're at episode 48 now. Now, this video is going to be pre-recorded because I am out of town for the next upcoming live stream tomorrow, I'm recording this on Monday, so for Tuesday, if you're watching it when it's premiering. So this is pre-recorded, but I will be in the chat. I will be in the chat responding for whoever decides to watch it on the day, or hey, if not, hey, we still out there and we still rolling. But thank you, like always, thank you for always supporting. If you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and hit that notification bell so you can be up to date on everything we're talking about. It is, it's going to be right now when you're watching this. It's a beautiful Tuesday, September 30th, 6 a.m. when this is going to premiere. But, we got a lot of things to talk about. So we're going to go over, we got a church shooting in Michigan. You got the North Carolina waterfront bar shooting, a lot of shootings. And then we got some more information on the David's case, the singer David case. So we're going to go into that. And there's just a other wide variety of things that just popped up on my algorithm that I wanted to bring to attention of us so we can review the world together. That's what I always say. Now, like always, if you ever disagree with anything I say, please let me know. Leave a comment. And if you if you think that you understand something better than I do, please tell me, because I'm ready to listen to anybody's debate. So, but you know how I like to do it. I like to jump right into it. Let's get into it. Now, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go over into Michigan. We have to cover Michigan first. So it looks like there was a church shooting and fire at a church over in Michigan. I believe the death count right now is at 4 people. So we're going to get over into that. We got two videos to look at, and then we'll learn about who the shooter is. So, you know what I like to do? Let's jump right over into it. Ain't nothing but to do it. Let's get into it. Let's jump into this first video and see what we can find out about this whole situation.
Welcome to News Nation Now. I'm Alicia Nieves in for Anna Koyman. We are following some breaking news that you are seeing right now on your screen. Gunshots ringing out at a church in Michigan, leaving multiple people shot as the building is now up in flames. The attack happening at the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Grand Blanc. This is a suburb of Flint, Michigan. First responders arrived to a chaotic scene as churchgoers were fleeing from the fire ripping through that sanctuary. Police confirmed the shooter is down and say there is no ongoing threat to the public, but investigators are still working to determine how many people were hurt and shot. What led to this violence? We are waiting for an update from police, set to happen any moment now. In the meantime, joining us now to discuss this further is former NYPD officer and president of QVerty Secure, Bill Stanton. Bill,
Now, before we get into what he has to say, let me say something. Now, as a Christian, I think you got to be one cold man to end up shooting up a church and setting it on fire. Absolutely wild to me. I will never understand it. But what I always say is that people deserve the punishments that are coming to them. So, hey, if they do a crime, they got to do the time. Let's get over into it.
Like I've talked to you several times following one of these shootings. What are your thoughts and what are you hearing or seeing as it relates to this breaking news in Michigan?
Well, yet again, here we are again, Alicia, on these unfortunate circumstances where we see people going to a house of worship and some misbegotten soul, someone who is obviously mentally ill, feels the need to strike out and be heard. You know, we live in a culture now where people feel it's okay to do violence upon other people, and we have to find a way to end this sooner than later.
Bill, as someone who is formerly of the NYPD, when you think about what investigators are tackling at this moment, because this is not just a shooting where they're trying to pick up evidence, but I imagine some of that evidence is in that building right now that is on fire. What is probably happening on the scene right now?
Well, first things first, they want to know if this is a solo act. I'm assuming it is. They're going to want to properly identify the person. They want to make sure everyone is safe. And then they're going to do the deep dive investigation, getting into his social media, his cyber world, physical evidence, see what led up to this, and if there were people that were sympathetic to this, or if he was just an outlier acting alone that felt the need to strike out, and then obviously what was the motive.
How quickly could we see federal resources deployed there? And I ask that because I understand this is a community of 8,000 people, so I imagine a small kind of police department in the area. And not to say that they are not capable, but they probably typically don't deal with a massive investigation like this is likely going to be. So how quickly could we see federal agents and resources to help understand what led up to this and if there truly is no ongoing threat?
Well, the FBI has district offices, and if they're not already there now, they're en route. They should be there shortly. But you are absolutely correct. With a population so small, there's only so many resources local police departments have. But what happens with these surrounding small areas, they all support each other. So hopefully they have officers with ex-military, ex-intelligence, et cetera. So all of this comes into play.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our News Nation app right now on your phone.
Absolutely tragic, absolutely tragic. But let's get over into this next video where we find out more about the suspect who actually committed this heinous crime. So let's get into it.
We begin with Madeline Rivera with the latest on that horrific attack in Michigan. Maddie.
Good morning, guys. That's right. Local police say they're working around the clock trying to find more bodies because, unfortunately, as of last night, there were some people still unaccounted for. The attack happened yesterday morning at the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Grand Blanc, Michigan. Hundreds of people were inside worshiping when police say the gunman rammed his car into the front doors. Authorities say he got out of the car and started shooting before officers arrived and exchanged fire with him, killing him. Police say the gunman deliberately set the church on fire. It was engulfed in flames for a couple of hours, and unfortunately, it is a total loss. In addition to the shooting and fire, Michigan State Police say authorities were handling reports of bomb threats in the area after the incident.
I can confirm at this time that the FBI is now leading the investigation and is investigating this as an act of targeted violence.
We received 911 calls about bomb threats or other indications that there was a bomb at a different location. Some of them were churches, and we responded and cleared those locations.
I'd also like to acknowledge the heroism of not only the first responders, but the people who were inside that church at the time. They were shielding the children who were also present within the church, moving them to safety. Just hundreds of people just practicing their faith.
Police have identified the suspect as 40-year-old Thomas Jacob Sanford from Burton, Michigan, about 10 minutes from Grand Blanc. Investigators are executing search warrants at his home. Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer says violence in a place
Hold on, let's back that up some because you know we like to get a little let's go through this. So he's a resident of Burton, Michigan, 7 miles from Grand Blanc. Former U.S. Marine from 2004 to 2008, served in the Iraqi War. Had a wife and son born with a rare genetic disorder, and appears as an avid hunter and outdoorsman. Yeah, it looks like it, but I wonder what. There's a lot of people saying maybe PTSD or something like that, but a tragic situation. What could drive a man to do something so senseless? Absolutely crazy. Let's keep going into this video.
Search warrants at his home. Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer says violence in a place of worship is unacceptable. She's ordered flags across the state to be lowered to half staff to honor the victims. Carly and Todd.
Madeline Rivera, thank you. With that, let us bring in former Assistant FBI Director Chris Swecker. Chris, are you hearing anything from your sources as to motive in an attack that you heard a member of the FBI call targeted violence?
No, but I'll tell you this. You can tell the tip-off is that the FBI has taken the lead. That means they're treating this as either a hate crime or an act of domestic terrorism. Targeted violence means targeted at someone or a group of people in an effort to intimidate or inflict violence in the furtherance of social change or political change. I mean, it's a convoluted explanation, but it's either domestic terrorism or hate crime. Regardless, that's that they have already actually attributed a motive to this individual already. So they must know quite a bit about him, his writings, his postings, interviews with his friends and family, his social circle, anything that might have been in his car or his pockets. I think the investigation is deep into it at this point with regard to motive.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit more about that. How does the FBI, you mentioned some of the items there, but how do they begin really to piece together the motive, especially that focus on his time as a Marine? Because you certainly go to the mental health consequences of serving in our military that so many men and women encounter when they come back home.
Yeah, I've done some work for the military in this regard at Fort Hood, and the military struggles with this. Mental health is a big issue. Obviously, they have quite a few, disproportionate number of suicides. This wasn't the only Marine veteran that committed violence over the last few days. We had one here in North Carolina at a place that I frequent, a bar restaurant in Southport, North Carolina. Marine veteran. Both of them had mental issues. Both of them had done a GoFundMe page very recently before the shooting to try to raise funds, one for the boat that he used to commit the shooting, the other one for his sick child. So, this is a situation of you find a manufactured grievance, if you will, and then a whole lot of stimulus from people either on the internet or even politicians, irresponsible politicians. We all know who they are. They're talking about Nazis and anarchists and existential threats. They need to crawl back into their dark places. These people are out there. That has to be taken into account when you start firing off your mouth.
To be clear, Chris, the shooting in North Carolina, Fox News has not yet confirmed that individual was a Marine, but we're working to do that and get that to our viewers. Finally, with these recent attacks on churches, do we now need to harden places of worship like we do many schools?
That's a good question.
Unfortunately, yes. When I do school security assessments, I tell them that your first line of defense, the gold standard, is an armed off-duty police officer, preferably, or a private security guard outside in a marked patrol unit, sitting, or at least with a marked patrol unit nearby. It's just your first line of defense. You have to have it. Among other things, access controls, security cameras, and your clergy and your deacons and your ushers all need to have some, need to be on the looking out for suspicious activities. They're sort of your ground radar, if you will, your eyes and ears. And then, of course, the parishioners and the family, when the red flags are raised, they need to tell somebody. In these cases, there usually are red flags going off or red flags being shown, red lights. There's something. They're in distress, and they're about to go off.
It's so sad that it has come to this, because all people want to do when they go into a house of worship is have some time alone with the Lord. Them, their thoughts, and the Lord. And the fact that they need to think about this is horrific. Chris Swecker, thank you.
Absolutely crazy. So let's get over into an article. Just give us a little bit more information on this. Zoom in some so everybody can see it. So what happened? Move that out the way. What happened? The attack began just before 10:30 at the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints branch in Grand Blanc Township, Michigan, a suburb of about 8,000 people. The gunman crashed a vehicle into a building, then began to shooting at congregants who were attending the Sunday service. The fire soon consumed the church as well. Officers responded within minutes of the reports of the shooting. 8 minutes later, the shooter was dead after exchanging gunfire with the police. Investigators believe that the fire was fueled by gasoline or another accelerant. 3 makeshift explosives were also recovered, said James Deere, an agent of the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms. So the suspect, as we know, is Thomas Jacob Stanford, 40, near Buton. They say he graduated from a nearby high school in 2004 and then enlisted in the Marines, serving 4 years, including a deployment in Iraq in 2007. Neighbors describe him as quiet, generous, and one recalled him how he plowed his driveway in the winters for free. He married a woman in 2016. Court records show the couple had a 10-year-old son. So the church that was attacked was a Mormon church based in Salt Lake City, Utah, which counts millions of members worldwide. The Grand Blanc Township Church was one of the largest in the area and steadily growing with around 150 members, according to the Justin Jean, a 19-year-old Latter-day Saint missionary in the area. Each Sunday, congregants gathered for 2 hours for worship in the chapel, with attendees seated in pews singing from the green hymns. The attack came during the first hour. The church building was declared a total loss because the fire chief said that's what the fire chief said. So as of now, they're just classifying it as an act of targeted violence. Absolutely crazy, everybody. Absolutely crazy. But yeah, it's up to at least 4 people were killed during the attack. Absolutely wild, everybody. It's I don't know if he has PTSD or not. That's what they're saying. But I don't think you can't use that as an excuse. Mental health, yes, is a problem, but at the end of the day, no matter if you have a mental health problem or not, I believe that you need to face some kind of punishment. I don't care if it's a punishment that he has to be locked up for the rest of his life in a mental institution, but he cannot be out here with the public. He cannot be out here with the public. Absolutely crazy. Let me know your thoughts on that. Let me know if you disagree with what I said, but it's a crazy world. That's the question that he asked was, should we start treating these like schools, have security and stuff like that at the churches? Some like making a plan for if a church shooting happens. The world is getting crazy, and the world is crazy, and it can be a dangerous place. We just gotta watch our surroundings, and it was pray for the family members of all the people who lost their lives. It's a tragic situation all around. And it's going to cost some money for them to build a new church. It costs a lot of money for them to build a new church. Absolutely tragic, y'all. Absolutely tragic. It's you never go a day without seeing something crazy. Never go a day without seeing something crazy. But like I said, let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you disagree with anything I said. Let's go ahead and we're going to pivot over into North Carolina. We got to go to North Carolina where there was a waterfront bar shooting. I'm not sure exactly how many people were injured or killed, but let's get over into that and see what details we can learn. We got 2 videos to go over with this. And let's see what it's all about. This first one's
a deadly mass shooting at a waterfront bar in North Carolina. A suspect allegedly opened fire from a boat into a crowd, killing at least 3 people and injuring 5 others. Authorities describe the victims as vacationers visiting the bar 30 miles south of Wilmington. Police say it was a highly premeditated attack. ABC's Faith Abube is on the scene tonight.
Tonight, authorities say a deadly mass shooting that left 3 people dead and 5 others injured at a North Carolina bar Saturday night was a highly premeditated attack.
Evil has come ashore in Southport, North Carolina. This is truly a devastating incident.
Investigators say people were out on the deck at the waterfront bar in Southport enjoying live music when the suspect, armed with an assault rifle, pulled up on a boat and opened fire from the water.
Reports came in rapidly of a boat sitting in the waterway. Reports of a subject shooting multiple patrons of the establishment.
About a half hour later, authorities say they closed in on the suspect, Nigel Edge, who fled on his boat to a nearby town. They say he was loading up at a boat access. According to investigators, Edge, a known resident in Oak Island, self-identifies as a combat veteran and told police he suffers from PTSD.
Oh, he self-identifies as a combat veteran. So what you mean self-identified as?
Residents in the small coastal town stopping to remember the victims at the popular local bar turned crime scene.
He really was shooting fish in a barrel, because if you ever look out there, it's a pier where the end is, and his boat was right out there. And there's nowhere for anybody to go.
And Lindsay, many of the victims were visitors just here on vacation. Investigators have charged that suspect. He's being held in jail without bond and is expected to appear before a judge tomorrow. The DA's office is considering the death penalty.
So he said so he claimed that he had PTSD, and he self-identified as a combat veteran. I don't know what that means. I think either you're a combat veteran or you're not. I don't know if you can just say maybe he went to war one time and he considers himself a combat veteran. I don't know. Tell me your thoughts, y'all. Tell me if you understand what self-identified as a combat veteran means. But let's get over into this next video where it breaks down a little bit more information about this whole situation.
Some facts that we have at this time is that we believe that this was a targeted location. We appear that he acted in what we call a lone wolf. He acted alone. This is highly premeditated from what we're seeing at this time. And we feel there are no other threats to our community, that we do have someone in custody.
Police in North Carolina giving an update moments ago on the shooting at a waterfront bar in that state. The suspect has been arrested and is going to be charged with 3 counts of first-degree murder. And with that, we welcome you inside, everybody. This is Fox News Live. I'm Kevin Cork in Washington. Police say the gunman opened fire on a busy restaurant from a nearby boat along the river. 3 people dying in that shooting. At least 5 others were wounded. Madison Scarpino has the very latest for us this afternoon. Maddie.
Yeah, Kevin, it's awful. Imagine just having food and drinks on the water, listening to live music, enjoying your Saturday night, and then someone in a boat starts shooting up the place. That's what happened last night in Southport, North Carolina. As you mentioned, 3 people now dead, at least 5 more are injured. We know some are fighting for their life. And we just got an update from local officials who say that the suspect is 40-year-old Nigel Edge.
This suspect identifies as a combat veteran. He self-identifies.
What does that mean?
Injured in the line of duty is what he's saying. He suffers from PTSD. We want to point those facts out. He acted alone.
So they haven't confirmed.
This is highly premeditated from what we're seeing at this time.
This is Edge's mugshot from overnight. He was arrested not long after the shooting. He's currently in jail without bond, and he's now facing 3 counts of first-degree murder, 5 counts of attempted murder, 5 counts of assault with a deadly weapon with intent to kill, other charges, and the local DA says that we should be expecting some more. Now, right now, the motive is unclear, but we do know from his local police chief, he's not a stranger to law enforcement. Police say this all happened around 9:30 last night at the American Fish Company restaurant. It's at a local yacht basin about 30 miles south of Wilmington, a really popular spot. And the local district attorney says most of the people killed were not locals, but people who were on vacation in the coastal town. The Southport police.
So my question is that when they say targeted, who was he targeting? Was he targeting travelers? Because if the majority of the people who were killed were non-residents, just people on vacation visiting because it's a popular restaurant, which most of us do. You go to a popular restaurant, which you would never expect to end your life to be ended, but who was he targeting? That's my question. Who was he targeting? Let's keep going.
Chief says this is weighing really heavy on the small, tight-knit community. Here he is overnight.
November will be 8 years that I've been the chief, and I don't recall a time that we've had an active shooter situation like this. So it's definitely it's a bad night for Southport.
So the suspect is due in court tomorrow, so we'll likely learn a lot more facts in this case then. And the local DA says that they are exploring the possibility of the death penalty.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling.
Absolutely crazy, y'all. So a self-identified combat veteran with PTSD. I'm still confused on what self-identified means. So they haven't confirmed it, or is that's all? They're just going off of what he said. But it's at the end of the day, this is a tragic situation. 3 people died. I believe they got 8 people, or 5 to 8 people. I'm getting different reports from different areas, from 5 to 8 people injured. But it's something you would never expect. You're out here having a good time at a nice restaurant, enjoying time with your friends, family, on vacation. Next thing you know, a man out of nowhere pulls up on a boat and just starts shooting. I don't know who he was hunting for. I don't know if he was just something wrong with him mentally. But at the end of the day, like I said with the last dude, you got it. Whatever crimes, the crime has to do with punishment. Whatever, no matter the crime, you have to face your punishments. Simple as that. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And they said here in North Carolina, where this takes place, they're considering the death penalty. Absolutely crazy, y'all. Absolutely crazy. I was going to see if they had any more updated details on it, but at the end of the day, this is a tragic situation. We'll learn more information on it. I'll do an updated video about what we learned from the when he's in court. If we find out anything else, when I do my next live stream on Friday. But absolutely crazy, y'all. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you know what a self-identified combat veteran is. I'm assuming he's been to war since he self-identifies as one. But then he also self-identifies that has PTSD. I don't know if they got medical stuff that specifies that, like his psychologist, but PTSD or not, he needs to go to jail. I'm happy he doesn't have no bond. I wouldn't think that they would give somebody like this a bond anyway, but dang, in jail for the rest of your life, or they might give you the needle. It's absolutely crazy. Let's remember to pray for the victims, the 3 victims, and the people who are injured. Pray that they, the grief that they go through, and the family of the victims, the grief, they can make it through it, and pray for the people who are injured who make a speedy recovery. Absolutely crazy, y'all. Let me know your thoughts on that whole situation. Let me know your thoughts. So let's get into this article that I found. So let's jump right into it. 3 people were killed, 5 people were wounded on Saturday night when police say a gunman attacked a bar from the water, driving his boat alongside an open docked front bar. Nigel Edge was arrested on Saturday and charged with first-degree murder. The suspect fled the scene, motoring his boat towards the intercoastal waters half an hour after the shooting at 10 p.m. The Coast Guard observed a single individual matching the description of the shooter loading their boat at the public boat ramp. The attack took place at the American Fishing Company and live music venue. Police are asking anyone who witnessed the shooting to contact them. A lot of victims, our prayers go out to the family, of course. A lot of victims in the case appear to not be members of the community, is what we heard. David said he arrived at the scene at around 11 p.m. on Saturday and saw with his own eyes the horror which occurred in the case. Officials said that they believe the alleged gunman acted alone, and but they said David said that Edge was known to law enforcement, but there was not a significance in his past which would give us indication that he was capable of such horrors. State voter registration records list Edge as 41 years old. Edge has changed his name from Sean DeVoice, according to the Southport Public Information, citing the district attorney investigation. The Department of Defense confirmed in an email to NPR that he was a decorated combat veteran who served in Iraq in 2005 and 2006 and was awarded a Purple Heart. Okay. A person of the same name listed as the author of a book about his time serving in the Marines in Iraq, and writes that he was badly wounded, shot 4 times, including once in the head by friendly fire. So far this year, there's been 324 mass shootings in the U.S. Police described the shooter's weapon as an assault rifle. The American Fishing Company said that our hearts are broken, and the prayers go out to the victim and their families. Ed is being held without bond. So he is going to be appearing in court on Monday. So that's today because it's pre-recorded. But absolute crazy, y'all. Absolute crazy. Crazy world we live in, but we got to keep reviewing the world together. We have to keep reviewing the world together. Absolute crazy. Now we're going to pivot. We got to pivot over into David, the singer David. So it seems like most recent David's friends have confirmed the link between him and Celeste and how they actually interacted with her. So we're going to get into that video and see what more information. But at the end of the day, he has still not been charged for any kind of murder. He is still under investigation. The last thing we heard was that the house that he was staying at was searched and they got some evidence out of the house. So it's a whole crazy situation. But let's get over into this video and see what all they have to say.
Tonight, we can finally dispose of all of the speculation around the singer known as David and the underage girl found decomposing in the trunk of his Tesla. Up until tonight, there'd really been no definitive proof that David Anthony Burke was actually in a romantic relationship with Celeste Rivas Hernandez. But now there is.
So, hey, X, formerly known as Twitter, as soon as this happened, they were dropping out photos of them two together when they was younger. So, as far as most people was concerned, the link was already confirmed. Let's keep going into this.
TMZ spoke with multiple friends of David who were, quote, under the impression that he and Celeste were indeed a couple, a romantic couple. David's friends believed that Celeste was 19 years old and a college student. Earlier today, I spoke with TMZ senior producer Charlie Neff, who is behind that breakthrough reporting. So, Charlie, you talked with friends of David. How did they know him, and how well did they know him?
Yeah, so the folks that I spoke to are in the LA music scene, so they know David very, very well. They didn't know Celeste as well as they knew David, but they did notice that he was bringing her along when they would go to parties in the music scene. Maybe they would have hangouts after a recording session, and they knew David to be a very gentle person, is what they told me. They also described him as very soft-spoken. Friends around him are extremely shocked that he's even remotely connected to this grisly murder of a 14-year-old girl. Obviously, he has not been named a person of interest. And from what we've seen, there is no legitimate connection connecting him to the death of this young girl. However, her remains were found in his car. And just that connection alone has really shocked a lot of people around him.
Did they get the impression that this was a romantic couple?
Yes, absolutely. So the people that I spoke to that were seeing them together out in the scene believed they were romantically involved. Now, look, they did not say anything about PDA, said that David was a very shy, quiet person, and Celeste seemed to mirror that as well. So they weren't out there making out at parties and things like that, but they did believe, because they would see them together so frequently, that these two were in a relationship.
Where did they get the idea that she was somehow a 19-year-old going to USC as a college
I know. Isn't that just so crazy? Because, you know, we think, how does a 14-year-old child present as a 19-year-old woman? And I was told that these people were just so sure that she was a college student. They were specific. They said that she attended USC from what they believed. And also, she was seen at events where there's age restrictions, clubs and parties and stuff like this, where she had to be at least of 18 years old to get in. And we do know from law enforcement sources that she did have several fake IDs as well. So she was able to get into places where there was age restrictions. But
Charlie, it's so sad to hear that you and I are talking about a 14-year-old girl, but I keep going back to the fact that it's possible he connected with her as early as 12, and on the far end, maybe even 11. Wow. Did these friends have a long relationship with David? Like, for instance, did they know Celeste when she was maybe 13 or, God forbid, even 12?
Yeah, so the people that I spoke with just recently got to know him. He has been popular for quite some time. We know that he had been signed to a record label when he was underage. However, he has kind of blown up in the music scene the past couple years. So it would have been the past couple years that they did know her. But yeah, she would have been, about 12 years old during the time that she was coming around. And, we don't know a whole lot about who her friends were, if she did have friends. We just know that she was coming around more in his circle. And we know she wasn't really home very often because she wasn't attending school.
Well, God, if you think about it, her friends would have been elementary school friends, because it's only a couple years ago that she would have been in elementary school. And if she disappeared at 13, she would have been just into middle school. And just the whole idea that we're talking about it is so uncomfortable. But I am so curious about her story and how she presents. And as you mentioned, these friends of David said she presented very much like a 19-year-old. Did they see her driving? Did they see her driving, say, his car? Because if she's telling everyone she's a USC student, she's got to be going out of the house or leaving his presence on a regular basis.
Yeah, these people did not see her driving or ever see her driving his car or anything of the matter. But, she was always with him. So, everything he did in his life, she kind of seemed to follow.
Do we know, Charlie, if these friends had any inkling that Celeste had actually moved into that mansion, that she was full on a resident of that home in the Hollywood Hills with David?
So the people that we spoke with a lot of neighbors in the area, and they don't recall seeing Celeste, or at least don't remember seeing her face. I know there are reports out there saying that she had been living with David and was at least staying there in the past couple weeks, leading up to when she was discovered.
Did these friends of David ever mention that Celeste talked about her family or her home life, or let on anything about her personal life?
Yeah, so the people that I spoke with didn't know much about her. It doesn't seem like this really came up, at least in like a social gathering or a social scene. No one really questioned much about her background. Like I mentioned, they just knew her as this college student that went to USC. It doesn't look like they really unpacked that. You kind of just take somebody at their word when they say things like that.
Did you get the impression that they thought David might actually be involved in this extraordinarily mysterious and tragic death?
So when I spoke to people around him, they were shocked that he was even remotely in, just the same sentence of this grisly, gruesome murder. Just the fact that it was his car that her remains were found in, they were shocked because, they said he appeared to be a very gentle guy, very shy guy, quiet. I also was told that his family is very conservative. They were very much involved in his life. Remember, he's just a 20-year-old, and his family was very much a part of his career from the beginning. And so for him to even be connected in any kind of way, again, he is not a person of interest, but for it just to be his car, they thought was just extremely disturbing and confusing. And just how could anybody do this, especially somebody that they would see at social scenes and things like that? They just can't believe it. It's extremely shocking for them.
Do you know if these friends that you talked to have also been interviewed by the police?
So I did speak with somebody who said that they have not personally been interviewed by police, but they believe that it's absolutely possible that other people in that group could have been interviewed by police. I'm sure police are trying to make sure that there's no stone unturned, and they are combing through everything to try to piece together this just horrific case.
If I were a betting man, Charlie, I'd say he would be going to his support system, which, as you just mentioned, he's got a supportive family. I think they're in Houston. Does anybody know if that's a possibility? Any sightings, any hint, anything about Houston?
There hasn't been any sightings, and like you mentioned, he is from Texas originally, and we do know that he has a couple homes out there as well, which it does not appear that there have been any search warrants for either one of those homes. There haven't been any sightings, so it appears he's in hiding. I'd imagine, like I mentioned, he is not a person of interest. Maybe, if he has no connection to this grisly murder whatsoever, he obviously knew who this young girl was. I imagine that would be extremely hard and painful to hear what unfolded to somebody but and it's unclear if he's spoken to police, but hopefully they get to the bottom of it soon.
Boy, I sure hope police know where he is. If you and I don't, I sure hope they have a handle on where he is, because my feeling is now that he's lawyered up, they still have some questions for him. Charlie Neff, amazing work. Great journalism and a really good interview. Thanks so much. I appreciate this.
Thank you so much, Ashley, and I hope you have a...
Absolutely wild. Yeah, they say they're 12 years old. Now, I don't know if that's confirmed. That's what they're saying, but that's absolutely wild to me. But let's get over into what's most recently has happened. So the body was released to the family on September 23rd, 2025. The medical examiner released Hernita Celeste's body to her family. A vigil was held in her hometown. David vacates LA rental. So David and his manager moved out of the Hollywood Hills rental home just days after the police served a search warrant. The lease was broken early, and moving trucks was seen on September 24th. So the timeline for the abandoned vehicle, reports indicate that David's Tesla ticketed on a public street on September 3rd, 2025, before it was towed and impounded on September 5th. This was 11 days after the neighbors first complained about the abandoned vehicle. So it's been there for a while. The cause of death has been deferred pending toxicology reports due to the body's decomposed state. So David has remained silent and cooperating. Absolutely crazy. So what is still unknown, the cause of death, the official cause of death has not been named. The nature of the relationship. So we just heard from different friends of what the nature of their relationship is. We haven't. That's what all they considered her to be his girlfriend. David's involvement, while under scrutiny, David's direct involvement in death has not been established. So that is why he hasn't been charged or anything. But that is what's most recently. Now tell me your thoughts, y'all. How do y'all feel about it? But it sounds like she was young when they first started talking. I don't know if they were in a relationship or just friends, but that's how their friend saw her, is as his girlfriend. It's wild, absolutely wild. But we'll still keep up to date to see if he actually gets charged with it, if they find any more evidence to charge him. But this whole situation is very crazy. This whole situation is very crazy. Let me know your thoughts and let me know if you disagree with anything I said. Absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. So we got to pivot. We got to pivot over into, we got 3 people were sentenced to life for a deadly home invasion. So let's get over into that video and see what all we can understand from this whole situation. But doing stupid, hey, you can't really say much about it. Some people do stupid things and they face the consequences for it. Absolutely crazy. Let's get over into this video and see what we can learn from this whole situation. Let's jump right into it.
Happening now in Montgomery County, the two men accused of shooting and killing 25-year-old Andrew Gaudio and paralyzing his mother during a home invasion in Lower Merion Township in December of last year. And the third man of orchestrating the crime will spend life behind bars. Kelvin Roberts and Charles Fulforth, co-workers at a junk removal company, went to the wrong address to execute their plan to steal guns from an elderly couple. After Jeremy Fuentes told them about the guns, this is according to the Montgomery.
Hold on. So they went to the wrong address? Absolutely.
Montgomery County District Attorney's Office. Fulforth and Roberts were convicted of first-degree murder and Fuentes of second-degree murder, among other charges. Our Kelly Rule has more from court today.
Robert Gaudio, who lost his brother in this horrific crime, and their mother, Bernadette, who was paralyzed in the shooting, had to read emotional statements 3 different times in court for each defendant. Judge Furman saying this is one of the most cold-blooded acts this court has ever seen.
It'll be nice to close the chapter in this book and continue on with our recovery.
After an emotional day in court, the Gaudio family says they can officially move forward after a judge sentenced all 3 defendants connected to a home invasion at their family home on Meredith Road in Lower Merion Township in December of last year. Andrew Gaudio, the youngest son, was shot and killed, and Bernadette was paralyzed in the shooting, enduring debilitating physical pain and no ability to live the active life she once did.
We do feel that justice was served today, just as it had been over the course of the past 2 trials.
This has been a really difficult journey for me, and now that the trial and the sentencing is over, we can focus on my health and my recovery.
Back in
I know I'm not going to stop it too much, but that is an awful situation. You mean to tell me you invade the home, you invade the wrong home, you end up killing the son, and then you paralyze the mother? Send them away for the rest of their life. That's all. Send them away. Send them away. I don't want to see them. They can't see the outside world for the rest of their life. Absolutely crazy. Let's keep
In
going.
July, Charles Fulforth, who was the first to be sentenced today, and Kelvin Roberts were convicted of first-degree murder, among other charges, and sentenced today to life behind bars for shooting Bernadette Gaudio in her bed, paralyzing her, and murdering Andrew, shooting him execution-style at their home on December 8th, hours after celebrating Roberts' birthday. Prosecutors say the pair worked together at junk luggers in Willow Grove and went to the wrong address as part of a plan to steal guns from an elderly couple in Bucks County. Fulforth received a consecutive sentence of 60 to 120 years. Judge Furman said to him, quote, "You are one of the worst offenders this court has ever seen." Roberts received a consecutive sentence of 55.5 to 120 years. He did have some family members that apologized and spoke about mental health struggles he had leading up to the crime. A third junk lugger's co-worker, Jeremy Fuentes, was convicted of second-degree murder in a separate trial and also sentenced to life behind bars with a consecutive sentence of 4 to 20 years, accused of telling Fulforth and Roberts about the guns in the home and setting up the home invasion.
Come on now. He looks like someone who would be behind the scenes in the mastermind of some crazy crime. Absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. Let's keep going.
When given a chance to speak, he apologized to the Gaudio family.
To shoot a woman and paralyze her as she laid in bed, to execute her son in front of her, it doesn't get any worse than that.
Robert Gaudio said in court, when offered to pursue the death penalty in this case, he says his family decided a fate worse than death was to, quote, be forgotten. He says losing his brother was losing his best friend.
We haven't had time to have a memorial, and we'll be looking forward to doing that.
An online fundraiser was started to help Bernadette with a long road of medical expenses ahead. We have a link on fox29.com. Reporting in Norristown, I'm Kelly Rule, Fox 29 News.
Absolutely wild. That is a crazy story. Oh my God. My heart goes out to the family. Oh, I can't imagine. I can't imagine. And all of this stemmed from them going to the wrong house. Absolutely crazy. Yeah, they didn't spend the rest of your life in jail. There's no need. Shooting the kid execution style, and then shooting the mother in her bed, paralyzing her for the rest of her life. Yeah. Like she said, a GoFundMe is out there because the medical expenses. She's gonna have tons of medical expenses for the rest of her life. And then the pain of losing your son. Yeah, no, there are some sick human beings in this world. Some very sick, demonic human beings in this world. Absolutely crazy, y'all. Absolutely crazy. I wasn't expecting to hear anything like that. I wasn't. Now tell me your thoughts, y'all. Tell me your thoughts. Do you think they should have gone for the death penalty? They said that a fate worse than the death penalty is being forgotten. Absolutely crazy. Let me know your thoughts on that whole situation. Wow. It's just it's mind blowing. Going to the wrong house while you plan a home invasion. So they most likely the elderly couple would have died. They would have died. They was already planning to kill them. But they end up going to the wrong house and ruining this family's life. Absolute tragic. I'm gonna pray for the family. I hope if you feel like you want to pray for them, because this is a tragic situation, very tragic. All the things we talk about is tragic, but this is tragic. This was tragic. Absolutely crazy, y'all. Absolutely crazy. Let me know your thoughts on this whole situation. Let me know your thoughts on this whole situation. He looked like a mastermind who would plan something crazy like this. Absolutely crazy, y'all. Absolutely crazy. Now we gotta pivot over into, so we got to go over into a school. So it looks like ICE has arrested an illegal school superintendent. So I don't know what this whole story is, but it popped up on my page. So hey, you already know I had to jump into it. So let's go right over into that and see what we can learn. I wonder if that gun is his.
Well, on to this. This is hard to believe. Des Moines Schools superintendent arrested by ICE. ICE announcing Friday that Ian Andre Roberts is, quote, a criminal illegal alien from Ghana in possession of a loaded handgun, $3,000 in cash, and a fixed-blade hunting knife. At the time of his arrest, Roberts was working as the superintendent of Des Moines Public Schools, despite being an illegal alien with a final order of removal and no work authorization. Roberts has existing weapons possession charges from February 5th, 2020, and was given a final order of removal by an immigration judge in May of 2024.
Wow.
Absolutely stunning. Former acting DHS Secretary Chad Wolf joins me now. You know, Chad, you and I worked together when I was in the White House. Yeah. It is shocking to me that
so first thing, I'm not going to stop it too much, but did the school not do like a background check before they hired him as a superintendent? Would they have not seen him not legally allowed to work, had a gun possession charge back in a few years prior? I mean, come on now. They had to do some kind of background check, I would hope. Or did they see it and not care? Or would the background check not show up because he's illegal? Tell me what your thoughts are, because that's crazy.
Someone in charge of our school district, the largest school district in Iowa, had a final removal order. How does that happen? I don't think it would have happened under your tenure.
Well, it's a great question. Obviously, the school district did not do their due diligence. He has a criminal record as well. So clearly they didn't do any type of background investigation. The amazing part here is he has no work authorization. So when they enter this individual's information into their system in order to get paid, to pay taxes and the like, all sorts of red flags should have been prompted there. So I think it'll be interesting to see what they say, to see how this individual, did he use an alias? How did this come about? And I think it begged the further question of the amount of illegal aliens that are here in the United States working in everyday jobs and the like. And some of them, like this individual who has a possession charge, has other criminal acts on their record, and to be so close to school children, right? To be part of the education system there in Des Moines is really troubling.
I mean, Chad, I look at these pictures and I see kids, and I think that could have been my kid. And this guy had a criminal charge. Do you think? And again, I know I'm asking you to speculate here. Did they just not input his name into the system? How often does this happen? I mean, there are measures in place. I mean, it seems like it'd have to take a whole lot of looking the other way to not find this.
I think so. Look, the school system there, just like any other employer around the country, has an obligation to make sure that everyone that they're hiring is here in the United States legally. has the ability to work legally. So if they're not a U.S. citizen, then they have some type of work authorization provided by the federal government. In this case, the Department of Homeland Security. He didn't have any of this. And so the question is, did he provide a fraudulent Social Security number and was operating as someone else? And if not, I think there's a lot of questions.
A lot of good questions
that school system has to answer. And the question is, are there others there as well?
Yeah, you know, Secretary Wolf, that's a great question. And back to our top story of the day, because I want viewers to understand, you were at DHS, Department of Homeland Security. Underneath that is U.S. Secret Service, who found this vast network of servers. Matt McCool from Secret Service had this to say. He said it would be unwise to think that there's not networks like this all across the country. You were at DHS. Do you think there could be networks of servers beyond New York in cities like Chicago, L.A., Miami, all across the country?
Yeah, there's no doubt. I agree with the agent there. I think this is a wake-up call, not only for everyday Americans, but just others involved in the fight here. And the good thing, which I heard the chairman say, is that we have agencies in the federal government, state and local partners, and others that are dealing with this each and every day. And we see types of incidents like this. We see probes. We see other things from nation-state actors and others that get interdicted almost on a daily basis. Not all of them make the news. This is a significant one. This is concerning for a variety of different reasons. They can enable denial of service attacks and take down cell towers, as was mentioned here. So I think what this says is, because we have an open society, we need to rely more and more on our investigative powers that we provide to certain law enforcement intelligence agencies so that they can go about this and thwart this before it begins. But this should be a wake-up call. There are bad people that want to take down Americans and do Americans harm every single day. They reside outside of the United States, but they also reside here in the United States as well.
It's terrifying, but it's great to know that Secret Service was on it. Secretary Wolf, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Hey, it's Will Kane. Click here to subscribe to the Fox News channel on YouTube. It's the best way to get our latest interviews and highlights. And click to subscribe to the Will Kane podcast for full episodes right now.
Absolutely crazy, y'all. That's an absolutely crazy situation. I was looking at this article from CNN, just basically who he is. So let's go back up to the top. Who is the Iowa school superintendent accused of ICE of being a U.S. illegal? So a year into his tenure of the superintendent of the largest school, made headlines. He was in a three-piece suit, candy cane stripe, sneakers. What is this? It was a small, unforgettable lesson. I ran track. Oh, so he's just going into, well, let's go back. Let's go into, let's see what this is. So this is from the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. So as we got his pictures here. So today, ICE arrested Ivan Roberts, a criminal illegal alien from Ghana, in possession of a loaded handgun, $3,000 in cash, and a fixed hunting blade. At the time of his arrest, he was working as a superintendent. During a targeted enforcement operation on September 26, 2025, officers approached Roberts in his vehicle after identifying himself, but he sped away. Officers later discovered his vehicle abandoned near a wooded area. State Patrol assisted in locating the subject, and he was taken into ICE custody. So he knew something was wrong. He sped away. Roberts had an existing weapons possession charge from February 5th, 2020. Robert entered the United States in 1999 on a student visa and was given a final order of removal by an immigration judge in 2024. The investigation into how Roberts acquired a handgun is being turned over to the ATF. It is a violation of federal law for those in the U.S. without legal status to possess a firearm and ammunition. Absolutely crazy. So he sped away, as you see in this second paragraph. Sped away because he knew something was wrong. He knew something was wrong. Absolutely crazy. It's a crazy world. It's a crazy world. Something you would not expect. Wow. So he looked like he ran track in Ghana for representing Ghana. Absolutely crazy. A longtime gun owner and hunter said that it was aware. The school system said that it was unaware of the order of removal, but Roberts did inform the school board of a firearm offense related to a hunting rifle during his hiring process. The district said in a statement, Robert provided sufficient context and explained the situation to move forward into the hiring process. Public school records. Robert pleaded guilty to the weapon charge in Pennsylvania in 2022. CNN has been unable to verify whether Robert had a separate charge from 2020. Absolutely crazy, y'all. Absolutely crazy. Let me know your thoughts on this whole situation. Do you think he should have been teaching schools? That is the main question. Do you think he should have had the right to teach some schools? All right, to be a superintendent. It's absolutely crazy, but they said he sped away. The only reason you sped away or run from police officers is if you're doing something bad. So, I mean, can't really say much about it. He was told to leave back in 2024. You got to follow the laws. Got to follow the laws. Absolutely crazy, y'all. Let me know your thoughts on that whole situation. Let me know if you think he should have just been able to keep being a superintendent. That's what some people believe. Absolutely crazy. Now, we got to pivot over to another story that popped up that my eyes was wide for. A woman. So a woman is being accused of stabbing her mother to death. Yes, I said a woman is being accused of stabbing her mother to death. Now, I can't imagine that. I can't imagine. I love my mom. I can't imagine that. But let's get over into this and see what we can learn from this whole situation.
Developments in a murder investigation we first told you about last night on Fox 5. Gwinnett police have announced an arrest in the stabbing death of 62-year-old Janet Morris.
Morris's daughter, 33-year-old Brittany Morris, now faces a felony murder charge. Fox 5's Deidre Dukes is live at the Gwinnett Police Precinct in Lilburn tonight. Deidre, you spoke with the victim's loved ones.
That's right, Russ. Family members telling me that Janet Morris was a God-fearing woman. They say she loved life and was devoted to her family. She was diagnosed with cancer just months ago. Janet Morris's loved ones dealt a double blow. A day after the 62-year-old woman was found stabbed to death at her Stone Mountain residence, police announced Morris's daughter, 33-year-old Brittany Morris, was in custody and charged with felony murder.
My mom was a lively person. She would help anybody.
A family member who asked us not to show her face told me Morris was a mother of 5 and a grandmother. She had lost 3 children in recent years and was battling cancer.
She's been through a lot with the deaths of 3 of her children, but through it all, she always praised God and kept God first.
Janet was a very nice person, very godly woman. You know, she was going through some health issues.
Police responded to the residence on the 3000 block of Deshong Drive at around 4:30 Thursday afternoon and discovered Morris's body. The suspect lives at the home. She was immediately identified as a person of interest. Brittany Morris is charged with felony murder, aggravated assault, and possession of a knife during the commission of a felony.
Janet, she was a phenomenal woman. She was a very Christian-like woman. She loved her family.
Neighbor Ron Lewis is taking her death hard. He calls Morris a dear friend who was loved by many.
She's going to be really missed in the neighborhood. My condolences and heartfelt concern to the family.
Now, police have not released a motive in this case, but family members I spoke with today say that Brittany Morris is mentally ill and has suffered and struggled with that illness for some time. Again, police have not released a motive in the case. In Cobb County, Deidre Dukes, Fox 5 News.
Yes, terribly sad. Deidre, thanks. Athens, Clark County police have made an arrest.
Absolutely wild. Absolutely wild, y'all. I don't understand what can drive someone to kill their own mother, but it's a terrible situation. We got to pray for the family. She was just diagnosed with cancer and lost 3 of her other children. Wow. Absolutely crazy, y'all. Absolutely crazy. Let's get over into this article to see if it tells us any more information. That's what the accused stabber looks like. Mama look better than her. Well, let's get over into it. So the brief. Let's see. Janet Moore, 62, was found dead from a stab wound inside of her Stone Mountain home on Thursday. Her daughter, Brittany Morris, 33, has been charged with a felony murder, aggravated assault, and possession of a knife. Believed the killing was a domestic related. It's being held in the county jail. So let's see. Officers from the South Precinct of the 3000 called to the 3000 block of the home at 4:30. Reports was that a person was down. Detective quickly identified Brittany Morris, who lived at the residence, as a person of interest. Investigators, with the help of intelligence analysts and uniformed officers, located her elsewhere in Gwinnett County. She was taken into custody, interviewed, and later booked. Police believe the incident to be domestic related. Absolutely crazy. So there's not much information more than what they're telling us, but like I said, I couldn't imagine this. I truly can't. Truly can't. I don't know what was happening. They said that she was facing mental health issues. But like I say all the time, at the end of the day, you do the crime, you got to do the time. You have to do the time. I don't know what was going through her mind, but hey, she got to face the consequences. She has to face the consequences if she did it and found guilty. Sounds like everybody loved the mother, but obviously some people did not. Obviously her own daughter did not. It's a tragic situation all around, but we'll keep up with this information and see if we learn any motive behind what she did, why she did it, but we might never know. Absolutely crazy. Let's pray for the rest of their family who has to deal with this. Absolutely tragic, y'all. Absolutely tragic. Let me know your thoughts and let me know if you disagree with anything I said. It's a cold world out here, y'all. It's a cold world. It can be even your own daughter. Even your own daughter. Absolutely tragic. Absolutely tragic. Can't imagine. Can't imagine. Now, let's get over and we're gonna pivot over into. So we got to go over to a concert. So it looks like a 66-year-old worker was assaulted at a concert. And what concert, may you ask? You can have an idea. It was a young boy, an NBA young boy concert. You've seen if you look at some of the videos. If you haven't seen some of the videos of the concert, I don't like this. It looks like some shifty people. That's all I'm gonna say. Let's get over into this. But it looks like a concert worker was assaulted during the concert. I don't understand why people would assault a concert worker who's trying to do his job. But you got people who would do it. So let's get over into this and see if we can find any more information on this.
I think that people should be able to go to T-Mobile or any other venue in the city, purchase a ticket, and enjoy their show. And it should not be interrupted by people who misbehave.
The T-Mobile Center employee on the receiving end of a brutal attack at T-Mobile Center at concert Sunday shares his story with Fox 4 now. Kansas City police arrested a teenager for beating up a 66-year-old guest services employee.
But that teen has since been released during the police investigation. Fox 4's Malik Jackson live in downtown Kansas City outside T-Mobile Center where this all went down. Now, Malik, how's that employee doing? He says his injuries are both physical and psychological.
Understandable.
He does. Thomas Langley, a 17-year veteran guest services employee right here at the T-Mobile Center, but he still thinks it's important to share his story, and he's doing so first right here on Fox 4. We want to warn you that this video is hard to watch.
I mean, it is serious that I went down and had blows to my head.
That is 66-year-old Thomas Langley describing the moments he's thrown
People
on his
just
back and repeatedly punched over.
So people just recording and watching this happen. People are just recording and watching this happen. Absolutely crazy. Keep going.
And over again. And the only thing on his mind?
Just getting him off me. Because he was so enraged, so we were in essence trying to protect the fans.
This all happening Sunday at the NBA YoungBoy concert. The teen was
No one's
arrested
stepping
but
in.
since released to his parents pending the completion
Some people trying to pull him
of
back.
the investigation.
He
But
was
they still
asked to
don't.
move to another place because his ticket wasn't where he was sitting, and immediately he just completely lost it.
Pastor Robert McDaniel was at the concert. He witnessed this, and this is his video. We asked why he thought taking the video and sharing it is important. He says so as to illuminate what's going on.
But there's something going on in his heart that he needs to be fixed, and what that is his emotions. He needs to learn how to operate and work through and process through his emotions.
Did you?
Yes, he needs to learn how to control. Anybody needs to know how to control their emotions. But why do you get upset? Because you're not supposed to be in this seat. The concert worker, which is his job to tell you not to be in this seat, you need to leave. And you get mad, push him to the ground, a 66-year-old, and immediately get on top and start. That's crazy. Absolutely crazy. He needs to be charged.
Ever think in your entire life, or at least the last 17 years where you've worked as an employee with the guest services at T-Mobile, did you ever think that you would be in a situation where you were so desperate, feeling as though you're fighting for your life?
No. The message is, as young adults or people growing into adulthood, we need to learn how to control our anger.
The mayor is also weighing in a statement. His office says that the mayor condemns violence in all forms, including in our entertainment spaces, concerts, sporting events, and community gatherings. They should be safe places of joy and connection, not fear or harm. As for Slangy, he will be meeting with KCPD on Friday. And another note about the person that was performing here at the T-Mobile Center, NBA YoungBoy. Well, he had a concert slated for tomorrow at the United Center in Chicago. Well, the United Center, the venue, has canceled that concert, and it will no longer be taking place in the Windy City. As this story,
I'm not surprised. Come on now. If the fans, well, it's just one fan, so you can't say the fans, but I've heard of the NBA YoungBoy fans. That's just what I've heard around, is that the fans at the concerts get rowdy. Absolutely crazy.
The story continues to develop, of course, as always. Fox 4 will stay on top of it.
Absolutely crazy. Let's get over into this other video to see if it gives us any more. So the man who stopped the beating at the T-Mobile shares his story.
It was brutal. It was pretty brutal. He seemed to be a grown man.
That's the man who stopped an attack on a T-Mobile Center employee, pulling off a teen who was landing punches. Only on Fox 4, he's now telling us what led him to intervene.
Yeah, Fox 4 was the first to bring you the story of that employee who walked us through the...
Well, I'm not going to stop it too much, but see, this is a good man. That's a good man. You're not just going to sit there and record and watch this happen. No, you got to intervene. You see this young boy just beating up this older man, just trying to do his job. Absolute crazy. It'd be totally different if the older man would have hit the young boy. Then that's their fight. Maybe if it gets too bad, then you stop it. But absolutely crazy. Him just doing his job, telling him to leave, and unprovoked attack. At least that's what it's looking like from the video, but there might be more information that we don't know, but just based on the video, y'all. But let's keep going and see what this has to say.
Moments that he simply wanted this beating to stop. Fox 4's Malik Jackson is live at the T-Mobile Center. Now, Malik, he says that he had no option but to step in.
And his reasoning, Scott and Lauren, is simple. He knows people in his own family that are that age, and he was not going to just stand by and do nothing. And we want to warn you once again that this video is indeed hard to watch. Here is the video still racking up views by the minute on social media. It shows the beating of 66-year-old Thomas Schlange, a 17-year veteran member of the T-Mobile Guest Services team. Tonight, the account of how it all unfolded from the only person who was brave enough to step in and stop the beating.
Thomas is backing everybody back. He's just doing his job, telling everybody to clear the stairway and all of that. And then the kid just keeps coming down.
Antonio Clater says then there was a brief exchange between Schlange and the teen. Before he knew it, things quickly got out of hand.
The kid just pushed him.
Snapped.
Yeah, he just spazzed out and he pushed him.
If you watch the video closely, you can see Schlange fall into Clater. That's right before the worst of this attack plays out for all to see. Seconds in, there's one person, as countless others yell, some record, that steps in to pull the enraged attacker off of the 66-year-old man.
I had to. It wasn't even a feeling. It was something that had to be done. Like, I have family members that are that age. This isn't right. Like, I have elders. Like, I was raised with morals and values. Like, you can't act like that, especially to our elders.
He has a message for the teen he says needs to be held accountable.
You can't grow up with that type of mentality because you're not going to get far in life at all. Like, me, myself, I've been in trouble, and I know what road that you can go down. Like, you're not going to get anywhere good besides prison or dead that way, bro.
Now, I reached out to the juvenile court system earlier this afternoon. They have yet to receive a case file from KCPD. Schlange is expected to meet with police on Friday. And as far as Schlange goes, his well-being, well, his injuries are serious, but he is expected to be okay. And this story continues to ignite a broader discussion across this country. And as the story develops, as always, Fox 4 will stay on top of it all. Lauren.
Malik Jackson, live at T-Mobile Center. Thank you.
Absolutely crazy. That is wild. I'm happy that that young man stepped in and pulled him off him, because nobody was going to do it. Nobody. They was more interested in watching it and recording with the phone. That is what our society has come to nowadays. More interested in recording and watching it than to break it up and stop some young man beating up this older dude. I'm glad that he seems okay, but I'm understandably clearly shaken up. And this is a crazy situation. Absolutely crazy situation. I want to know if NBA YoungBoy is going to mention this or talk about this whole situation. That's what he needs to do. He needs to come out and condemn this action. That would hopefully stop these young kids from even thinking of doing this. But like they said, these young kids can't control their emotions anymore. This man was literally just telling you that you're not supposed to be here. Please leave. Man pushed him, got on top and started spazzing. The older dude looked clearly scared. But luckily one man stopped and broke it up, because he would have just kept swinging on him. No restraint. Absolutely crazy, y'all. Absolutely crazy. Let me know your thoughts on that whole situation. Let me know your thoughts. I haven't seen anywhere where they talked about, they named the kid. I'm assuming because he's a juvenile, but absolutely tragic. He needs to be held accountable. They need to bring this case up, because that is crazy. I don't care if he's a kid and can't control his emotions or not. You got to face the punishment. Well, I always say, what do I always say? All crimes deserve punishment. Absolutely crazy, y'all. Absolutely crazy. But let me know your thoughts on that whole situation, or if you disagree with anything I said. Now, we're going to pivot over into the last thing we're going to talk about today. Looks like a mother tried to end her kids and herself after a live stream. Luckily, she was stopped, but absolutely tragic situation. I don't know what was going on, but we'll get into the video. We got a video and an article to look at. So let's see what this whole situation was about, so we can. Why they put a picture up like that? What is that, glue residue from the wig? Absolutely crazy, but let's keep going.
First up at 6, we've got a Valrico mother under arrest now after live streaming one of the worst things imaginable. Last night, 24-year-old Shanice Willingham broadcast to the world that she'd had it with family life and would be ending it for herself and for her children. And she almost did, but thankfully witnesses stepped in to save them all. Fox 13's Evan Axel Memphis live at the Hillsborough County Courthouse to explain how this all went down. Evan.
Well, she had an argument with her family over childcare and said that she couldn't take it anymore. Well, she made sure that everyone knew what she was about to do and that ultimately may have saved their lives.
Even when I was
Shanice Willingham had her mind made up.
it's never a break. I never had a support system, so who the hell am I going to leave them with?
This is an Instagram live stream that Hillsborough deputies are using as part of their investigation. It shows Shanice walking with her kids to a community pool just after 1 Thursday morning. On it, she says she loves her kids.
I'm right here at the pool. It's so beautiful at the pool, y'all. It's so beautiful.
Just after that, court documents say she used a rope to tie herself to the children, who are aged 3, 2, and 8 months, and jumped into the deep end of the pool on Sacramento Street in Valrico. Family members who arrived by car jumped the fences and pulled the 4 people out, saving all of them. She was arrested by deputies and appeared on Thursday afternoon at a child custody hearing from her jail cell. Their father, Theo Williams, tried to get custody, saying he was not involved in what happened. But attorneys for the children argued he had known about her mental health issues and never tried to stop them from being around her.
They just said that I had knowledge of her mental health. Yeah, so you're asking them? I told them that I didn't know. Okay. I didn't know that.
At a second hearing today, a judge agreed to hold her in custody until a formal hearing is held on whether she can be safely let out.
She'll be held at no bond until we can have that hearing.
She has previous mugshots for other family-related incidents. But in this case, HCSO detectives say she had an argument with family members over childcare.
There was a reach out for help of the live stream, and we can be so grateful for the people that took that seriously and listened, and then were able to jump in when support and help was needed of literally life-saving measures.
The Crisis Center of Tampa Bay does want to take this opportunity to remind anybody in a crisis that there are multiple local hotlines that can be called for anyone in need of desperate help. There is a pretrial detention hearing scheduled for Monday morning at 9 a.m. to determine if she's going to remain behind bars as this court process begins to ramp up. She's going to have to face charges of attempted first-degree murder. They could land her. They could see her spend the rest of her life behind bars if she's found guilty. Mark?
Yeah, certainly sounds like it. So sad all the way around. I'm glad the kids are okay. Evan, thank you.
All right, let's get into X, formerly known as Twitter, where we can actually see the full video of what she posted. So before that, let me get everything.
Because I'm about to do this.
So before all that, let's get into what the charges are reading. As you see, I'm assuming it's attempted murder in the first degree, attempted murder in the first degree, attempted murder in the first degree. So let's get over into here and see what this whole video is.
It's my last goodbye, y'all. I can't take it no more. My baby dad don't give a fuck. My mama don't give a fuck. I've been struggling so long with mental health. So if y'all understand a young mother, right? If she's been reaching out for months and months, please, 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 please hear her out. Hear her. Just hear her. Because I'm about to do this, guys. Whew. I'm about to do this, y'all. And I love my kids. I love my kids so much. So much. But I can't leave them behind because how? I can't leave them behind because who the fuck gonna take care of them? I don't want them. I know they'll be safe with God. And I know I'm going to go to hell. Oh, God, I'm going to go to hell. And, God, I just know. I know you're disappointed. I know, but I've been trying. I told you to show up for me. I tried every way, God. But I know my kid's going to be safe with him. Oh, Lord. I told you, God, I was getting tired. And, Theo, you really hurt me with this one because you could never see how much of pain I am. You never saw how much of pain I was in, Theo. And it hurt me so bad. It hurt me so bad. And y'all, don't get it twisted. I'm not doing this about no nigga. I'm doing this because I am a tired single mother that got too much on her shoulders. I don't know how to figure out this life when no one helps me. So don't even blame Theo either because he did his part when it was there, but he was not no good father when times was bad. To my mama, Ma, you knew I was at my lowest. You knew, Ma. You knew I was at my lowest, Ma. You knew. You just kept me right down. You literally just saved me from suicide. You saved me from suicide. And now you the reason. Another reason, like you just added icing on the cake. My kids, I love them so much. I love my kids so much. And I wish I wasn't so selfish. That's selfish of me, right? Is it selfish of me? But then it's like, y'all won't ever understand because I never had a break. Even when I was in a hospital having my baby. It's never a break. I never had a support system, so who the hell am I going to leave them with? I love my kids. If I don't do it, believe it's because I look my kids in their eyes. I'm right here at the pool. It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful at the pool, y'all. It's so beautiful. Oh, Lord. It's so beautiful. Oh, Lord. Oh, y'all, babies, I love y'all, okay? Dad, you tell mommy you love me? I love you. I love you. Yeah. Mommy love you. Give me a kiss. Give me a kiss, okay? Mwah. Two. Mommy love you, okay? Give me a kiss. Give me a kiss.
That was hard to watch. That was absolutely hard to watch. I will say this, yes, being a single mother can be hard, but if you gotta talk to somebody about it. You have to talk to somebody. There's no reason for you to end up taking your and your kid's life. I don't care how hard it is. Get some help. Talk to people. Go to a therapist. This was tragic. This is tragic. Luckily someone was able to took the live stream seriously and actually went to go help her and stop her from doing this. Absolutely tragic. Absolutely tragic. Let's get over into an article. So, family members jump in the pool to save the children when the mother tries to drown them. Like we talked about, mother identified as 24-year-old. I'm not good with names. Is now facing attempted murder charges. Deputies said they found on the pool deck family members had already intervened, pulling the children ages 8 months, 2 years, and 2 years, and then 3 years old, so 3 children from the water and taking them to a nearby home. The sheriff's office in the Williams hand left her parents' home with left her parents. So the sheriff's office said that so the woman left her parents' home with the children following an argument. Shortly after, she began posting videos to Instagram saying that she was going to harm herself and the children. Alerted by the videos, families rushed over to the pool and said that she threw the children into the water before jumping in herself and holding the children underwater. They immediately intervened, deputy says, removing everyone from the water. The children were not harmed. She was taken into custody under the Baker Act. Jail records show she is facing 3 counts of attempted first-degree murder. The Baker Act permits the involuntary examination of someone for a 72-hour hold if there is reason to believe they are mentally illness and a danger to themselves or others, and are unable to take care of themselves. The decision was not a cry for help. It was a deliberate act of cruelty. Mental health challenges may provide an explanation, but there is no excuse. Exactly. There's no excuse. No justification. These children were failed by their own mother, and it is only a quick action of the family that saved their lives. Absolute comfort. Yep. So this one part is good to remember. If you or someone else is going through struggling with mental health or considering self-harm, please reach out to the suicide crisis lifeline. Please, suicide prevention hotline. Because go talk to someone. At the end of the day, go talk to someone, please. Absolutely crazy, y'all. Let me know your thoughts on that whole situation, but this is a tragic story. Tragic story, but absolutely crazy. But wow, I wasn't expecting to see that. I was not expecting to see that. Not at all. But that is the end of the show today. Thank you for watching now. Thank you for watching later on. Like I said, this is a pre-recorded show. But I will be on the chat talking. But let me know your thoughts on anything we talked about. Let me know if you disagree with anything I said. It's a crazy world we live in, y'all, but we got to review the world together. But you already know how I like to do it. I like to end it with the outro. But we're going to end it with that. But everything else, peace.